Hey guys, welcome to a new tutorial, and this is going to be one about post-processing effects or things that you'd see in your game. Usually when you'd finish creating your game you might add these effects to add a little bit of realism, so I wouldn't normally do this because it doesn't really follow on with the tutorial series, but seeing as though loads of people have been asking me, this can just be a shortish video showing you how to add a little bit of extra, effects and realism, because loads of people keep wanting to know what I use and how to do it. Now this is just going to be a tips and tricks video, so hopefully it will be short, so I'll get right into it. Right, one of the things in my scene is I've taken everything away so it looks really dark and rubbish. All I've got first of all is obviously a directional light, and on my directional light I've just made sure that it has soft shadows. I'm not sure if you can use those in Unity 3, but I think you can use one light with shadows, and I've just made sure that the colour is a nice warm sort of colour, so you can see it, so it sort of reflects the colour of the sand and things like that. One of the big things that I like to add, which is good, say with my terrain, that I don't want to, because if I start playing this, I've set my camera culling so we don't render the whole terrain all at once, because it gets quite taxing, so you can see it popping in the background. So one thing you could do is add fog, and it stops this effect. So if we go edit, render settings, and then we can enable fog. Now obviously it adds a sort of, I've added a bluish fog which matches in with the sort of colour of the water and the colour of the sort of the sky, so a tropical look. I've set the fog mode to linear, the density to 0.01, and you want to adjust the fog start and end values so that you can adjust where you want your fall off for your fog to be. So when you get into your scene, you can notice that there will be fog back here, and there'll be fog behind the trees at the back and behind where they're going to start popping in. One of the things, obviously it's very obvious, is if I enable all my effects again in the scene, is that I have got a skybox. All you do is add your skybox material there, so I'm using Sunny Skybox 3, and obviously I've added in my water. You could use whichever water that comes with it, but I'm using the water, for example, that comes with the Unity assets when you import the water packaging. Somebody did say that I can use it in Unity 3 somehow. Maybe you'll want to experiment or look into that, but that's it for those basic things. And a lot of things that people ask is what effects that I use on my main camera. Now if you can see in my scene, I'm not doing anything crazy except the normal things that you do with the fog, with the skybox. Now one thing that I do like to add is something called fast bloom. Sometimes when you add these image effects, it flicks it upside down until I add a different one, so I'll add sun shafts as well. So you'll see with the fast bloom in the game, it sort of adds a bright intensity to all the different sort of colours and things that you'd see, and you can increase and decrease the threshold. But the thing is, I like to mask this a little bit by using Vignetin, and obviously you get a darkening around the corners of your screen. So if I untick this on and off a few times, you'll notice that it sort of soothes or softens the areas where it's really intense. Obviously you can change that up, but you don't have to. I like to add sun shafts as well, and you get a little bit of you can get sun shafts and things coming through the trees depending on where your directional light is sat, and you can use sun shafts by you make that the actual light that it's looking for, your directional light, and then you might see some sort of light rays coming through the trees using that. You can use colour correction, but I've avoided it this time because I don't really like it. So all I've really done is obviously added really two main image effects, which is the fast bloom and the Vignetin, because it just balances it all out and makes it look more tropical and more sort of exotic. The settings vary really, because you can see there the intensities, you can have it as 2, the blur 0.1, but these are really things that you'd have to test for yourself. And if you can't use the Unity Pro image effects, obviously if you don't have Unity Pro, you can try get an indie version of image effects, and I might make a video on showing people how to get those and get those working within Unity. But hopefully this sort of clears up some things that you can do. So obviously you want to add your skybox add some fog, make sure your directional light's got shadows if you can enable it, add some reflective water if you can. Then if you've got hold of image effects, as I say, use the fast bloom Bignitin. What you can do is if you click on your main camera, then you go to component, image effects, you've got a whole host of image effects that you can try and make things look more special. So, as ever, thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and make sure that you like my Facebook page because I've just made one recently. So thanks very much. Cheers.